Support for this podcast comes from the patrons at patreon.com/FMLFPL. Okay! Welcome to FMLFPL Milan.
This Walsh.
I might sound a little different in a new apartment.
New place, new man.
Little
Moving in
echo.
with your girlfriend, no big deals.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have heard. I'm getting it
Congrats on
done.
the sex, bruh.
What's up, dude?
Oh, yeah. You know, Monday, just pure agony. We're back.
A lot of games happened.
Oh, my God, dude. We're
It
back.
wasn't so
We're
bad.
back.
I think we both did
We're
fine.
back. Today was something else. Watching
Let
that
me
game
just-
today was something else.
The only bit of admin that I could think of was so many people are DMing me in our Discord about joining the Mug League. And they're
It's
always
hard.
like, hey,
Yeah, reading
hey
is
can
hard.
you add me to the Mug League? And I'm like, no. I actually can't. You have to fill out the fucking form. I posted 1,000,000 times. Then the code for the Mug League will pop up and you join yourself. You have to join. So get that out of the way.
job by you.
Good job by me. And check us out.
Yeah. So how'd you do? Week 1.
Yeah, let me pull up the team. I'm out of practice here. Let's see how this works. Yeah, there we go. Well, I guess for audio listeners, I should read the teams because
Yeah,
people
sure.
don't know our final team. So I'm Johnstone, Turner, Gahey, Henry, Saliba, and then my bench defenders are Colwell and Bayer. 5 mids, Mo, Rich, Saka, Bruno, Jota. And then 2 forwards are Wissa and Holland, Archer on the bench, Captain Holland. 77 points. I mean, I feel good.
Yeah.
Almost everyone returned. Yeah, the only blankers were Jota, Rich, and Bruno. Good. I don't know. I feel like most people just had like a pretty good to great week. I haven't seen many people who just like had a complete disaster, but I'm sure they're out there.
Yeah, it's... Yeah. I mean, you would have had to have no Holland and brash cap or something to really have something like a 50-point week, but...
Right.
Yeah, it was,
and like double
Saka
City
returning.
D who doesn't play, and Gabrielle, some crazy.
Yeah, there is
shit like
certainly
that.
a combination of players that you can come up with to get 40 points.
I can
but-
name 100 players who blanked
Yeah.
right now if you on the spot.
Yeah, but a lot of the popular players all returned.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of scores in the 70s.
70s to 90s or something like that, depending on how well you did with your other pick. So
yeah,
obviously I stumped hard for Matto on the last spot, and then I did Matto to Rich as soon as Kane left the building. I snuck in Jota, which he got a 1-pointer on the high. I didn't watch the game. I missed so many games, but on the highlights it was like, oh, he almost scored twice, so that's pretty cool. We'll see if he starts, and then, Manchester United were absolutely awful today.
Yeah.
So I just tied everyone's Rashford points with my Bruno 3 points. So it's like, and everything else went well. Everyone else returned. Actually, everyone else on my team returned. So no complaints.
Yeah, Wissa 9 was great.
Huge.
Yeah.
Everyone has Saka. Everyone Captain Holland. Obviously Mo only got the assist, but again, just based on highlights, I mean, hitting the bar, offsides goal, did some stuff. Pen not given.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, yeah, you looked like you're in pretty good shape over there.
Yeah. Feels good. Good. What about you?
So I just 2 points
pull you
lower
up.
than you on 75. Yeah, it's,
Faith
already.
in Nurgason. Walsh has a team name this year for the first fucking time ever.
Yeah, we gotta show respect and pay homage to the altar of the best Palace player to have ever worn the shirt, to have ever donned the red and blue.
The greatest fullback ever. 100% clean sheet.
100% clean sheet record in the league.
No one's ever scored a goal when he's on the pitch.
Never.
Premier League history.
Never in his career.
A Holland, a Mo, and a fucking Thierry Henry. Doesn't matter.
No one. Yeah, I mean, it's just still goes all the way back to just continuing to agonize over my switch, on
The
Friday.
last second switch.
Yeah. Putting Kevin in.
So read your team.
Okay, so I have Johnstone, Turner. Defense, I have Gahey, Saliba, Van Heck, Henry, and Colwell. Midfield, I have Maddo and Rich. I doubled up on Spurs mids. And then I have Kev. Well, I had Kev, Saka, and Rashford. And then up top, I have Holland, and I stuck with Ollie. So, I mean, I think when I went to bed on Thursday night, I had a 4-5 in for Van Heck. I don't remember who it was. And I had Mo, and I
Probably
had...
a dog, right?
Yeah, probably dogs. And I had Mo and João Ladro in for Kevin and Ollie. I literally didn't spend 3 minutes thinking about or tinking with Kevin the whole summer.
No one did.
Yeah. And
that was purely a leak move, right? I mean,
yeah, the leak dropped and, we were chatting and I was like, oh, Kev, this or that. I mean, the main thing I didn't like the most was just not having Ollie after I was stumping so hard for him. But it just felt like the momentum was in the direction of João Ladro, and having Mo felt really nice for that Game Week 2 captain. And that's why I had that locked in.
Yep.
And
I was definitely in your ear saying the former. Like, I don't like you're going off the guy that's been in your team essentially since April, in Ollie, and then, potential Game Week 2 cap too. You've been so high on him for so long. So I was kind of on the side like, no, dude, like, get your guy. Like, I like Pedro too. I like him as a pick, but like, last second changing your team, I don't like. But it was like what, a -7 or -8 this week, and you have to get rid of Kev because he gets injured in the first 20 minutes. So it ended up being very bad.
No, it's just a seismic wave of disaster already before basically before we started. So very upset about that. Still, I'm still mourning that loss. It's just it was just huge. I mean, I think it was just a mistake, and it's too bad for me.
Ray said one of the main takeouts from the pod was that if Foden leaked to start, he'd come into your teams. However, neither of you went there. Washburn and Kevin said, what was the thought process there?
Well, I think the main attraction to me with Foden was that Kev was supposed to be like kind of hurt,
Yeah.
And, so seeing Kev playing, typically when he's fit, he plays, and he was fit and he played and he shits points. And Foden, as exciting as he is, we don't have a record of him playing in the central middle midfield area and shitting points. So, it just felt like I was still thinking about Foden when the lineup came out, and I was looking like, is this going to be a thing? But
same. I mean, we were in fucking, should I go this to Foden? Should I go this to Alvarez? Like, that was constant communication, I think, like leading into the deadline, right?
Yeah. But I mean, it just was looking at with Kev, like, okay, he has the Burnley game, which, in the 15 minutes he played, he put 2 balls in that were like, the fuck is going on here? Kev's back.
He was so good. It's rare for a player to get injured in the 20th minute and still just be like, oh my God, he was the best player on the pitch by a lot. Like,
I think he had like one really bad giveaway, I remember. But he had
3 passes completed into the box in 20 minutes. Like, he had the insane cross to Rodri's head that ended up in the first Holland goal.
Yeah, he created
just looked
that goal.
Incredible.
Yeah, and it was just looking at him, okay, well, he's fit, Burnley, then, bad Game Week 2, and then a little good run, I could just roll with this, keep Ollie, it's just put so much stress on Ollie. It's like, I feel like now I'm just like being held hostage by him, kind of, where I still think he's a good pick, but that was before we had this new information of,
Pedro.
And I just don't think I properly, I don't know. I just should have stuck with it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people in like the Twitter mentions are like, just chill. He only got a pen regarding Pedro, but like he also had a sitter and he also looked incredible the whole game. And Brighton's attack, they still have 2 really good fixtures to go. And I was like, I don't know, I'm deciding whether to like immediately jump on Pedro or not. And I think Chilwell are the 2 like main guys that both of us were just like, oh fuck, like we kind of need these guys in our team potentially. Don't know what to do.
Yeah, I mean, João Pedro is not going to destroy your season if you don't have him at all. It's just looking at him at 5'5" and the team. It's just
Steal.
Yeah, he's just an insanely good pick, and I don't really mind not having Mo in the long term. It's just
right.
What it would have looked like after 2 game weeks versus what ended up happening with this. That trade off in my team is just so huge, and it's just so upsetting that
I mean, really,
I did that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the injury just killed you, man. Because I mean, Ollie matched Mo, and they both have bankers this week, right? And if Kev played, it's hard to imagine he wouldn't have at least gotten an assist, right? And probably Bones, right? And then it'd be like, oh, it was a wash, good pick. And you'd have Kev, but the injury just murdered you.
It was also, I mean, I didn't really consider, maybe he's not fit. He hasn't played. I just kind of assumed like he's starting. Oh, I guess he's fit. Like he was just protecting him. And preseason, like doesn't care.
Right.
But I mean, from the last 10 minutes before his fucking hamstring snaps off his tendon, whatever the fuck. I mean,
usually
so annoying.
The like modern manager, I feel like they just say they're beholden to the medical staff, right? And so someone on his team was like, "No, he's good. Trust me, all good," and he wasn't good.
Yeah.
Let me shout out the Prize League Mug League leaders for August so far. 1 week into the season, we got Joseph Thiel, Johannes Forsberg, Torgeir Holm, who all bench boosted, and then Eddie Ross in 3rd. So insane to bench boost, but I guess it's working because you're in 1st.
Yeah, you're going for the mug.
Yeah. Let's just keep talking about Kev, I think, because Warren said, who benefits from Kev being out for a while? Everyone seems, whatever. And Liam said, for Kev owners, is it worth a hit to turn him into Mo this week, or do you prefer a straight swap to another mid? So this is like exactly what you're going through, which is why I wanted to start here. So did you already make a move?
Yeah, I already did it.
Okay,
and
what did you do?
Very painful. I got Eze in. And I also hit Chilwell in for Van Heck. So I took a -4.
You did Kev to Eze and Van Heck to Chilwell.
Yeah, and I still have obviously like $2.5 million in the bank.
Yeah, which is no bad thing early in the season.
Yeah. I basically narrowed it down to Eze and Bruno is sort of what I was deciding between. Yeah. I have no idea which is right. I mean, they both feel, right and wrong for a lot of different reasons. Yeah, I mean, I really wanted Son. like I wanted Son to show a little bit. And I still almost did it. I was close to doing that, even though, I was like, how crazy? And you were like, it's very bad and very crazy. I was like, okay, fine. I won't do it.
I actually looked for you. Like I looked at the, I was trying to figure out like what like heat map type of thing could I look at to like accurately describe. So I looked at passes received heat map for Son, Kulu, Rich.
It's
Son is just
all around the touchline,
chalk, and Kulu's the same on the other side.
Yeah,
Jesus, this is not good for Son. Yeah,
I know. I mean, Chilwell was a mistake. Period. Yeah, I mean, I think we both were talking a lot about it within the last day or so of before Friday that, we should get him. We will want him as soon as possible.
We'll want him in game week 3, right?
Yeah,
that's what we were saying.
Yeah, I think neither. I think the biggest issue for both of us was we really didn't want to play him game week 1, and there was no real team that we were coming up with where we were happy to bench him, which, is, I think, still fair. I don't think anyone was looking at he's going to get that much in the box against Liverpool.
Like the other part of this, a big part for me is like he hadn't played that all preseason.
Yeah.
All of a sudden he just rolls out 3 center backs and Chilwell's their second furthest person forward to Nico Jackson. He's just like playing left wing and Colwell sliding to left back. It's not even a wing back. He was further
he was playing
forward.
That. Yeah, he was playing just forward.
Left wing.
Yeah.
And and like I said, Colwell was sliding to left back. It was a back four with Chilwell at left wing. It was insane.
Yeah, when
he had never shown that. Obviously, I think if he was doing that, we would have had different feelings about the team. Like that, I even said on the last pod, I was like, well, if they're in a back four, Chilwell can't just vacate that space all game against like Mo and Bowen. But if he's not playing left back, he can.
Yeah. Well, it's also interesting. I mean, Lavia, who knows? He might take some time to settle because he's like, but with Caicedo coming in, and I guess it's kind of. I mean, Poch came in, and we look at the squad, and it's a mess. And then preseason happens, he plays 4 at the back every game. But I didn't really sit and look at the team to really come up with like, wait a minute, actually, 3 at the back makes the most sense because it kind of. I mean, put Caicedo in here with Enzo. Like, he can just keep playing this if he wants. They don't have attackers, really. I mean, it's like, what are they forsaking? Mudryk. I mean, maybe it's going to be a little bit of both, depending on the enemy. But ultimately, having this in his locker, I mean, it's just, Chilwell's just a ridiculous pick. He's the best defender pick in the game.
Pick. Yeah, absolutely.
By a lot. I don't think it's an overreaction. He's just, it was watching that game and watching where he was it was just insane. So I didn't think it was worth like waiting price rises. I don't think the West Ham fixture is bad. They were fucking terrible against Bournemouth.
I don't think if we knew he was playing this position, he would 100% been in both of our teams and started in both game week 1. There's no bad fixture.
Yeah.
Don't give a shit at all.
Well, I mean, I would have had him and Reece in my team 1,000,000% if I knew that this was going to be the situation happening. So
yeah, probably. Which shout out to Tio.
The thing we don't know is if this is the situation that's happening. I mean, at West Ham, he could go back. I mean, Caicedo comes in, he could do, go back to just whatever.
4-3-3. Boom.
Yeah. But ultimately, whichever way you slice it, I mean, the Caicedo and Lavia coming in is just, they have no Europe. I mean, they're going to be so much better defensively by just having the spine in place. Right? Yeah. I mean, it's even if he's not playing
I agree.
forward.
I'm laughing because it's kind of funny that like either way you look at it, Chilwell's an incredible pick, right?
Yeah.
If they go to 4-3-3 to fit in like Lavia, Caicedo, they're good clean shouts.
Yeah.
And they have an insane run for cleans. If they stick with this, fucking incredible pick, right? He's getting far forward. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, he had 4 touches in the box. He had a shot. He had an offsides goal. He had an assist. The only bummer, I guess, is that like he actually wasn't taking corners as far as I saw, but I think Enzo took every corner in the game. But
which I don't even give a fuck really about. I mean, you have to have a player taking corners. It's nice, but it's like
it doesn't matter
if it saves him a little bit from having to take 8 less sprints in the game. It's like whatever, it's fine.
I mean, he pretty much had more touches in the box in that game than the entire preseason.
Yeah. So I did that. I mean, Van Heck, I think, was still like a shrewd and good pick, and he played well. His stats were really good in the game, and he's, making up for dunks, errors a lot of the time. But, I mean, ultimately, I didn't want to, especially by going down this cheap with no money, like I just like get rid of the probable short-term pick there. And I know Wolves, we'll come on to them, I'm sure. But, I mean, Brighton don't look really like a clean sheet shout against anyone. So, holding him. And I was, I was going to start Colwell, which just didn't feel good at all. So that hit feels like it's just going to pay itself back, and it sets me up better, and I don't want to worry about it. And 0.1 is 0.5 this early. So I had that baked in. I was going to do that no matter what.
Yeah.
But Eze and Bruno.
But you were close to getting Mo though, right? I mean, that was Liam's question, right? Should we get Mo?
Yeah, well, the Mo I mean, the thing with Mo, what I was looking at would have been, I might have gotten Eddie, honestly, instead of João Pedro if I was actually thinking about that necktie.
Really?
It would have been, Yeah, I mean, it would have been Watkins and Kevin to Mo, and probably maybe either João Pedro or Necktie.
Probably
I think it's
Pedro. Come on.
I think it's close, honestly, very close.
If Necktie was nailed, but Arteta in the fucking press conference like, we need different players for different situations, different solutions. I'm like, okay, is he saying no one's nailed? Like he can just drop guys for different formations? I don't know.
I mean, he could say whatever the fuck he wants, but he needs to look at himself in the mirror for losing control of that game, because I think that was more on him than the players.
That's like a different
that's
issue.
A different conversation, different issue altogether. But it doesn't matter. I mean, I think Necktie a great pick, but ultimately, I mean, I was just weighing it up because that would have made it a lot harder. I would have essentially then, if I wanted Chilwell, I would have had to take a -8 and got rid of Saliba, which I was like, that's bad. And I think Chilwell's way more important than Mo.
Yeah.
By a lot.
Well, the difference is it's like Mo is the short-term cap, whereas Chilwell, you're starting every game for forever.
Long as he's fit. Yeah, just as long as he's fit.
Yeah, and tons of points are looking likely in his future. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Liverpool had their issues, obviously. I mean, they were on top for 20 minutes or so, 15, 25 minutes, and then they just completely got lost. And, Chelsea made an adjustment, and granted, they're not going to the Bridge every week, and, they play Bournemouth. I'm sure they'll look a lot better, but then they go to Newcastle. That's going to be a tough game. Villa, Wolves, I mean, the fixtures are fine. We don't know yet. I mean, the fixtures are fine. Mo looked fine. But it was really more just the balance of what it did, and looking at the back end. So I don't know. And I mean, it's Ollie has these fixtures. I mean, I've been, like I said, preseason, like nothing changed. I mean, they didn't look good at Newcastle, but Ollie could have double returned easily. And
I mean, he had that big chance from Diaby. He had a couple other like half chance moments. Yeah.
Yeah. And him and, I mean, game week 1. I mean, what do you make of game week 1? You're taking, like, it's for some teams, it's more preseason than a match.
I was about to say, a lot of the top managers have always said it's basically preseason until the first international break.
Yeah. So it's
just
hard
an extension of preseason. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to draw that much out of it and say, like, this is predictive, right? Of like, I saw this in game week 1. This is what I believe. I don't believe that Villa are bad, even though they were just horrible against Newcastle. I mean, I like watching Ollie with Diaby, the understanding they had, and that's a handful. So so I just decided to stick with not going with Mo, even though it was really like not fun watching Liverpool without owning Mo, which I've experienced before, and I know that. So I know that I'm kind of strapped in for that. But Bruno versus Eze, I think, was like really close. And the thing I kept asking myself was like, I kept leaning more towards Bruno. And I was like, is this just because he's more expensive and I have the money to do it? Yes. And I think, the answer seems to be like, yes.
I think the answer is yes.
I mean, it's game week 1 is, again, one of those. And, Man United were fucking horrendous today. It was an atrocious display of football from this team. And Bruno, I mean, I was kind of really concerned watching Bruno, honestly, because he's not shooting. I mean, he's just trying to pick the ball up and stitch things together. And I feel like he played the best he could, but the team was just not functioning. And they were playing. They were basically like down a man and a half or something.
Oh my god!
And it was a mess. And I don't know. Maybe Spurs is a game that they'll kind of snap in and.
I feel like weirdly easier for them to play that kind of game. I mean, Spurs are completely wide open. I expect them to concede 2 every game, basically the way they played. Man United, like that's their specialty, right? Is like long balls there, like transition attack. They're great at that.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at Bruno just kind of playing some balls over the top and shit like that, I guess, next weekend. But Rash looked really off it. They were just a mess, and. I still think Bruno's a fine pick and he's going to get points. Obviously he has, with pens and he's really good, but I don't know. I mean, the lack of shots and just like, he wasn't coming into the final third and trying to do shit in that area the whole game. And they were getting fucking destroyed and he was sort of missing. And usually he goes missing when they play really good teams. And these are the games, the bad teams, not against Wolves at home. And he was from an FPL perspective missing. So I was like, this doesn't feel great. there.
Yeah.
But I think I was also drawn to him because I was just on him for a lot of the time in preseason.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, how bad is one bad game? Like how much evidence is that I'm like, oh no, I want to stay away from this. And, you know, I'm not convinced that that's like a lot. You know, it's like, oh no, that they were bad at Wolves at home when he picked a really bad team, which, you know, I mean, he could continue to pick really bad teams, and that's within his wheelhouse, obviously, based on the personnel he chose today. Week. Yeah, he could fucking nail Garnacho. I mean, you know, see how far that gets them.
Yeah, no, I think it's one of those weird ones. Again, like this is all from Liam's question about what to do with Kev, but it's like we talked about it. There's just like not that many mids, even though we all have 5, and obviously the ones we have are generally good. The transfer targets are like you said, it's like there's the Man United guy you don't have, there's an Arsenal guy you don't have, there's Foden who feels like a punt still to me, even with the Kev injury, which we should talk about.
They're also playing in 2 days.
Yeah, they're playing in 2 days. There's like Bowen, there's Eze. It's like that's
Diaby,
it. Kind
yeah,
well, like Diaby, whatever 6'5" you don't have. Bumo, I guess.
Bumo, like, I almost went back.
Just don't watch him in open play.
I just
don't watch him in open play.
Yeah, I just couldn't go back. But
I think
almost
he
went back.
played well, and then you see the misses, and you're just like, oh my God, dude, you know?
Yeah, which is, you know, who he is. But
that's who
he
is.
has, you know, I mean, they got the pen, right? Of course. So he's, you know, great pick because he's on pens. Well, I don't agree that there are no mids. I feel like there are so many mids, but you can poke holes through each one. And
I guess what I'm trying to say is there's no mid that's João Pedro, and there's no mid that's Chilwell.
Yeah, I agree with
There's
that.
no mid where I'm like, this guy I want so badly in my team.
I think that's Maddo.
Maybe
I just
Maddo.
already have him. I mean, I do think that he is that player from watching that game.
Yeah, maybe.
And imagining them continue to get more comfortable with each other, you know? But no, that was the thing, was like, I'm sitting there, Kev gets injured the first game, and I'm like, you know, crying hysterically, inconsolable, disconsolate. And then I'm thinking, well, I can get any minute in the game, so cool. I'll just hop on whatever bandwagon. And there isn't one. It's Maddo. It's like Maddo. I'm like, Maddo. Great, I have him. I'm like, fuck. And I'm like, I guess why is this so
Rodri
hard?
price rose, so you should have got him.
That's what I was like. I feel like typically there are at least like 2 midfielders from game week 1 who catch your eye, where it's
you know, you brace and you're like, oh shit, you know. I mean, Diaby I think is kind of one, but
I just
ultimately
didn't feel
settled on
safe
Eze.
Enough. Yeah, I didn't feel safe enough with Diaby. Well, you know, I mean, I watched the game, and we had, you know, you didn't watch the game. You know, the stats underlying are monstrous, but I think it's a real glass house of stats, because watching the game, he was unplayable until he got into the final third, and he just was making kind of dumb shit. And, you know, he took every set piece. So I don't know, you know, who they get a little head on that. And then maybe the counting stats are higher than the XG stats. Fine, whatever. Right. But ultimately Sheffield United, by the way, really bad team. Fotheringham, good keeper.
Yeah, Fotheringham made some good saves.
He was their best player. He didn't put a foot wrong.
Once they sold all their best players, I put a cheeky little unit on them finishing 20th. Doesn't seem bad. Doesn't seem bad.
No, why not? They're really bad. But that aside, the team is just built around him, you know? And with Lerma and Doucouré fit, him being able to have that free 8-10 role really genuinely the whole game, and not having to expend any energy defensively, especially when he's playing Schlupp. It's like, God, that's a dreamland for Eze. He just doesn't have to play any defense. And everyone looks for him. Everyone tries to get the ball to him. And it really, when he picks the ball up in those areas, it doesn't matter how many players on the other team are around him. They literally cannot get the ball off him. They just have to foul him. Yep. So, you know, he was definitely getting Wolf treatment. I mean, he was just getting hacked down at all the time. I think the issue for me with him from the FPL standpoint is, you know, he has obvious avenues. He's on every indirect set piece, on pens, on direct set pieces. Right. You know, one of very few players in the game that has that to speak of. he's not passing to players who typically score goals when they receive balls and goal scoring opportunities. Don't love that.
Yep.
And,
the center backs or the forwards, right?
Yeah,
like the dead balls anybody. Or the forwards. Yeah.
I mean, you could tell me that the highest, you could tell me the highest goal scorer, non-Eze goal scorer in our team this season to have 7 goals. I'd be like, yeah, I hope so.
That seems about right. That seems about right.
7 goals, yeah.
Eze might have 16, but the next guy might be 7. Yeah.
Yeah. So, he was still getting into, central areas and ghosting in, and, he found space when the ball did happen to go out onto the wings, and, we miss Elise, obviously. But it's just, thinking about him and Bruno and like all these other players is, he's so good. He's a better player than all the other 6'5" mids.
So good.
And, Woy, clearly this is the thing he's doing is just like, this is our guy. Before it was, kind of get it to Wilf and get out of the way. Now it's like get it to Eze and get out of the way. And yeah, I mean, I don't think he's explosive. I don't think we will score 3 goals in a game all year, maybe. Every time he scores any goal, any assist is add 3 points on. He's gonna have max bonus points literally every time he gets in a return. So that'll add up. And, he's just a good pick. He's someone that, I know, bad fixtures coming up. Arsenal, it feels bad to buy someone before Arsenal, bad before he has to go at Brenham. Then there's maybe some good ones. But
you got to be patient with a player like him, though.
Yeah, he's someone that I'm just going to kind of hang on to for a little while and keep an eye on, make sure it's going well. But I think he's still just a good pick. Because I was looking like, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, this is the image that I sent you. I don't know if you can even read it for people watching on YouTube, but it's just from FBref, just every shot that either was as a shooting or as a setup. And it's just an absolutely absurd number of shots. Like just the kind of thing where it's like, okay, none of his shots were good, but he was involved in 16 shots.
Yeah.
Either shooting or setting them up. Like fucking insane. And yeah, I mean, that's everything you want in a fantasy guy, right? And on pens, if they ever get one, it's just like the points are going to come. And we know he's really good at shooting too. So I love that pick. Love that pick.
Yeah, and he was in a lot of my preseason. Like he was my 6'5" of choice. I was also looking, I'm like, okay, Matoma, love him, good, whatever. But I still just look at that as a transfer waiting to happen. And Eze is definitely not a transfer waiting to happen. And I like that aspect of having him. So
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll go with it. I mean, he could blank. He's fucking plummeting in price. And I'm just like, oh God.
Dude, I forgot what Game Week 1 is like. Yeah, I mean, this all started from one question about Kev.
Yeah.
We just spent like 25 minutes talking about every mid in the game.
Yeah, I'm fucking spiraling here, man.
Warren said, who benefits most from Kev being out for a while? Do you think there's something there? I mean, it's probably Foden, right?
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people in our Discord were thinking it's Alvarez because he kind of plays that 8, but I just think back to the Champions League final and who the fuck subbed on in the most important game of the season to win when Kev went down injured? It was Foden. It was not Alvarez. And that tells me a lot. So yeah, I think Foden is very reasonable right now.
Yeah, I was surprised to see people wanting to get rid of him. I mean, I was also considering transferring him in this position. It's just 7-5. Even if he doesn't start Newcastle, which is possible, he could play him on Wednesday, and he wants more control. He plays Kovacic, like that'd be fine.
Kovacic,
yeah, Rodri, whatever. Bring him off the bench, but in the games upcoming, he has Sheffield, Fulham, West Ham, NFO, Wolves. I mean, these are all Phil games, and he was close to points in the Burnley game.
Very close.
He looked
very close.
I mean, that's the thing with him, though, is that's how he always looks. I was about to say he looked rusty, but that is actually how he always looks.
He has a little Raz syndrome in him.
Yeah, he does.
Where he is on the ball in an absolutely glorious chance to score a goal, and he just takes 17 more touches and falls down and asks for a pen or something. And it's just like, you could have just shot. You're really good at shooting. Like, fucking hell,
Yeah, especially in the last, the last part of the game. There were the last 20 minutes. There were some really wide, and Alvarez I thought was more of a culprit to this than Foden even. But I mean, the two of them were just taking turns.
Yeah, at least he laid off the good Holland goal.
Yeah. But I mean, he's just kind of profligate. When he gets in those positions, he shits himself.
Yeah, it's annoying.
I
other
think
City
Foden
questions.
But they're also probably going to buy. So we don't know. There's still fucking 2 weeks left in the window.
I know.
We don't know.
They might just buy someone huge and
he's out. I mean, they're talking about Paqueta for 100 million or whatever. I mean, they could bring someone and drop someone in this. I mean, they are definitely short of numbers, even 100%. For a Pep squad. They need to bring 1.5 in. They definitely need to.
Yeah. The other City questions were just C-Tech. What do we do with City D? Maitland, should we be casting our pointless pebble John Stones into the well? Basically saying, should I do Stones to Chilwell? And yes, because we know he's injured.
Again, Chilwell is the most important transfer in, I think, by so much. So if you have any way to get him in, even if it's getting rid of Saliba, I think that's a great transfer. Like basically, literally anything. Like just get Chilwell in immediately.
I wouldn't hit for no reason though. Like in my position, I'm not hitting Saliba out for Chilwell and doing someone else. I'm not going to do that.
No, that's fair.
But I'll plan to get him, right?
Yeah,
like it's in my thoughts that I'll almost 99.9% roll my transfer, and then I will use that to get Chilwell.
No, right. I mean, for a team like you, where you have no issues, everything's fine. You don't have to do a single thing. You can save. I mean, and the cost of just not having for West Ham is, whatever, point one. It's not a big deal. You can easily get him afterwards. That's a no-brainer. But if you have anyone where there are question marks around them, like Stones or Gabrielle, like any of that, like just do it. I mean, that's where you want to go because you're happy to do that. But I mean, the City defense though, they look good. They did the thing. They played like backups.
Easy
It was
game.
easy. Literally all backups, like Stones.
Guardiola, such a piss take.
Yeah, it was, but Guardiola didn't play. Ruben was out, so they look good. City look good. They controlled the game.
Rico's always good, man.
He's always good when he plays. He's just he's always shuttling. He takes up so many different positions. It's so fun to watch him.
Yeah.
He's so smart. Yeah, his movement. He's just he always finds space. Like he's always offering. He's really special. I love that kid.
Yeah, I think it's an underrated thing about City is just clearly like the trickle down of Pep being the coach and they got all the Barcelona guys in and whatever. Like clearly the youth system's working, right? I feel like whenever a guy comes in, it's just like, oh, he's really good. Like no question, he just fits. Yeah, he's good.
I mean, even like McAtee or whatever, he was at fucking Burnley, like led them in goals last year. He looks like he's 8 years old.
Palmer's good.
Yeah, they get all
even Trafford looked good.
Dude, they sell goalkeepers for $20 million for fun. Do you remember they fucking robbed?
Never played. Premier League minute.
It's crazy. Yeah, City is just obviously a machine, but City looked like they were in good shape. I was actually though a little bit concerned after Kev left. I felt like they didn't create a single chance the whole game, kind of.
Well, because
the chances they create. Well, fair, but maybe they weren't trying. But I mean, any of the chances that they got were created by Burnley, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean after Kev left? I mean, because they created the chances that they scored. Yeah, I just think that's just who they are. I mean,
that's how they
been the best, simultaneously the best and the most boring team in the league for like 5 years.
Yeah.
And they're they take the lead, they just sit on it. They don't do what Arsenal do and sit back and say, all right, you can have the ball now, come attack us. They just keep the ball and don't do anything with it.
Yeah, and they also, they did like they lure you in and then they try and hit you, which they had several opportunities and they just fucked them up at the end. But
yeah. Where should we go next? There's so much. There's always too much to talk about.
There's a lot of action.
We could talk more about Chelsea. There's some questions. I mean, Brian's asking about Chukwuemeka 4-5. Brad asking about what attacking Chelsea assets, if any, should we target with Caicedo coming in. Poetry Emotion asking about Nico Jackson. Terp asking about Bob the Monster, of course, Terp. Luke asking about Enzo as a pick. Potentially if he moves further forward with Caicedo and Lavia, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we already talked a lot about Chilwell, but overall, I thought, based on, the numbers and the highlights I saw, I thought Nico looked fucking amazing. And I was like really into Nico preseason. We did the scouting video on him for Patreon subscribers. Everything I saw, all his numbers were just great. And he got 4 shots, half an XG. Probably should have done better with that one big chance where like Konate was diving at his feet. And, against worse teams, I expect him to score goals.
Yeah, he was lively. I think it also just helps looking at this team as, everything is sort of going to funnel to him. I mean, they don't have any other goal scorers. Really, I mean, Raz had a very interesting game. But
Nico has to get the shots and the goals.
Yeah,
everything is set up for, like you said, funneling to him. Chilwell's funneling to him. Reece is funneling to him. Midfield's funneling to him.
Yeah, I would still like to get more information about what they're going to be playing though before I actually put one of my 7 attacking picks on him. Yeah, because it's so hard to judge. I almost want to throw this game out. I mean, Liverpool at the Bridge, Chelsea, like first game for Poch. They're getting Caicedo, and it's like what this team's going to look like in 4 games compared to what they looked like game week 1 is going to be not even a comparable data point almost. Yeah. I mean, I think what we can say is Chukwuemeka it was just the game passed him by. It was just way over his head. He had no fucking idea what was happening.
No idea.
So, I mean, he looks like he should be very well and truly sitting on the bench every game and just a depth.
Not one of their best 11 players.
Yeah, no, he's not even remotely close or ready. I don't think he's good depth, but I mean, Enzo, if he pushes up in this kind of weird, kind of almost like if they're playing Lavia, Enzo, Caicedo midfield, then I'm interested.
Yeah.
Wake me up when that happens, though. I mean, it has to be a 4-3-3.
How good is Enzo, by the way?
He's ridiculous. I mean, he was cost $100 million for a reason. He's an absolute world-class player. He's ridiculously good.
Like, I don't know if there's any central midfielder I'd want more than him on my team. Like, just unbelievable.
Yeah. And I mean, you could definitely sell me that they say they don't buy further, that their best lineup is 4-3-3 with those 3.
Totally.
Mudryk, Nico, Raz, right wing. Yeah, that's good to go to me.
Yeah,
that
I think 4-3-3 so. I mean,
is good.
Enzo, for how good he is, he does not really contribute defensively much. But with those guys behind him, getting him the ball, unbelievable how good he is.
Yeah.
Finding space, under pressure, his passing, it's just like
he's
fucking real. How good
he reminds me of if George was good, he would be Enzo. Jorginho.
George? Oh. I heard the name George. I was like, who the fuck is George?
Yeah, like if he wasn't old and slow when he was born, Jorginho, but he has similar instincts, I feel like, and capabilities, but he has he's fast. He's agile and he's
he's
not
just
an idiot.
Much more athletic.
He's just better. He's just a better version. He doesn't do the dumb shit. He's just like
well, we always say that, right? It's like when non-elite athletes start aging, it's even more of an extreme drop-off, right? Because they were already not elite. Now they're like really slow and really can't keep up with it. But yeah, Enzo's a great athlete. So there were tons of times when like Liverpool's press I thought was really good. And then he would just like turn, touch, beat one guy, lay it off. And it was just like, oh my God, he's so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chelsea, I'm a little bit more bullish on Nico. I mean, I thought I saw like everything I needed to see. That sort of like, I think it's because I'm coming from a higher place, right? Like he was almost in my game week 1 team. So I was obviously really high on him. And then everything he did, I feel like just confirmed, oh yeah, this is exactly what I want. All the shots, every move ends with him. Like he looks physically very, very up to the level. And I was just like, yeah, this is great. Other than his, handball, which wasn't great by him. But
he was trying something out.
Yeah, you don't get minus points for that, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, 7 million. I do. It does feel like it's him or no one though at this point from the attack.
I think so. Yeah.
But in terms of defense, I mean, load him up, baby. You get Caicedo and get Lavia, and it's an embarrassment of riches. And Tilv, while he's fit,
That's
Disasi.
crazy.
I mean, he was really mobile. He looked really good to me. It was his fucking first game. He just got there like a week ago. I mean, I think he had a really good accounting of himself. I mean, Colwell had some issues, but we know there's a player in there.
That's what I was gonna say. That I think as center backs they were good, but as right back, I didn't think Disasi was good, and as left back, I didn't think Colwell was good. You know what I mean? So there is question marks there, but I think Poch will figure it out. And I think, like you said, they have the personnel to get it right. Yeah. I mean, those mids they're asking is just so much ball winning, so much disruption.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing with them is, you have these look, the depth is what it is. The bench are children. And, so is Nico to a degree, but ultimately the individual quality of all of these individual players is so high.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard for them not to really have a good season for me when they play once a week.
Bob the Monster, though.
Well, he'll throw some in. He'll minus 3 clean sheets because you have Bob the Monster. But, when you're looking at the Chelsea players, comparing them to all of the other good assets, I mean, as the season progresses.
So cheap, too. Just so cheap.
Yeah, I mean, them and are Spurs playing in the conference championship?
No idea.
Spurs may or may not be playing
no idea what the hell the conference league even is.
I mean, playing one game a week compared to Thursday, Sunday, or Wednesday, Saturday is so monumental.
Especially for Poch, right? We're talking a high-press team.
More training, less travel.
More great pressing, more rest.
More tape days for Sunday or Saturday. It's just all the things. So, yeah, I mean, we were really high on maybe having 3 Chelsea, post-mortem. And, now I have 2, and, we're slowly, I think, ramping up. The Liverpool fixture was unfortunate. I mean, Chelsea look really just priced to buy, and I do expect them to just keep getting better and better as the season progresses for sure.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of picks there. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Let's go. Where should we go?
Should we go to Spurs, talk about Matto?
Yeah. For sure. I'm in abstract. So what do we make out of Spurs' performance? Rich looked quite isolated up top with very little service. Decky and Son have looked toothless up front since preseason, clearly affecting Rich. Rob said, is Rich or Matto the Spurs mid-pick? Hard to not say Matto after that game, but I think also both you and me are way higher on Rich than our entire Discord for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rich is top 5 pick in the game, honestly.
He's such a good pick after that game. I don't know.
It's insane. Watching that game, I'm like, oh my God. As long as they sign some 18-year-old striker from River Plate and not, some 90 million striker.
Lukaku, yeah,
not Lukaku. Let's go, baby.
I'm definitely scared about that.
Yeah, we'll be scared for a little while here. But, in the meantime, I mean, Rich is just going to get so many points this season if he continues. If he's the striker for this team, it's going to be a fucking bloodbath. It's so funny.
I think you made the right call. It's game week 1. We don't know anything, yada, yada, yada. Do it all over again. If we knew what we know now, Matto, Rich in every team. They would both be in every team.
Yeah.
I took Matto out for Rich. Huge regret. I wish I had both. I didn't really feel that great with both going in, but now I'm like, fuck, I wish I had both.
I mean, is there a shout for you to do Jota to Matto?
I don't think with home Bournemouth. And I don't think with the Chilwell looming, I want my extra free, etc.
Okay.
I mean, that's how I feel. Do you think you would just rip that?
Well, it would back you into a corner with having to do Saliba to Chilwell, which, I don't really mind that.
Well,
or you can't even afford that anyway.
Rise?
Yeah, he rose. You can't even afford that.
So I can't even do that.
It's worthless. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Spurs, the game was, I think that was the best game of the weekend.
Dude, I mean, the games were really good.
Yeah, there were a lot of really good games. Today it left a very sour, bitter taste in our mouths.
horrendous.
The worst.
But
worst
Chelsea,
game of the
Liverpool.
weekend.
I mean, Sunday was just incredible, right?
Yeah, those two games were both good,
incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, Newcastle Villa was crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, Spurs are very interesting. They're so good, but they have so many bad players, and that's an issue. It felt like it's so rare to watch a team in the Premier League where it's like the manager is trying to put a square peg into a round hole, but the round hole's the good one, and it's his asshole. Like he has.
I didn't follow that at all, but I love it.
Like he should be doing something else based on the players he has in his team. That's what I mean.
I see.
He shouldn't be doing what he's doing. He's not getting the most out of the best players.
His ideal squad of life, and he's playing that instead of playing with what he actually has.
He's taking his system, and he's taking a few players who clearly are not, getting the most out of them, but saying like, I don't fucking care.
It doesn't matter. The system is worth risking at all. Yeah.
I'm not going to do this for you. It's going to be like this. So you either sink or swim. And, if that means I'm subbing Son off at 75 because he didn't do anything.
If that means that Man or Solomon is actually a better fit than Son, then
that's what's going to happen. You know what I mean? And it's, Son's wearing the captain's armband. He could find himself on the bench game week 5.
He could captain the fucking bench. Yeah,
he doesn't give a shit. So that's sort of, if that makes sense, right?
I agree. I mean, they're fun, they're exciting, and they're really open, and they're going to concede a ton of goals. And their keeper seems like he has a fucking screw loose.
He's crazy,
Vicario.
Actually, crazy.
That's going to be very entertaining and very bad for their defense. I think overall, all their players and him combined.
Yeah.
And just how aggressive it is. It's so aggressive. Again, as if he has the best players in the world, and he absolutely does not. So, I think that kind of happy but we both didn't go doggy in the end because they're not going to keep cleans.
Yeah, he was
also not going to keep cleans.
He was also playing a bit more reserved than I was expecting him to.
He
didn't get into
really a lot
good,
like Wendy said on the fireside.
Yeah, and he didn't really get into the box like the whole game. There were like maybe one or two moments I noticed in there, but I mean, he's going to have to swim around and figure out what the best personnel is. And, I mean, Bentancur looks like he would fit really well. And, Lo Celso,
I think, yeah.
I don't know what's up with Ndombele. I made a comment in Discord. I think this seems like this is for him. I don't know what's going on with his head, but Basuma's an interesting one. I thought he had a really mixed game. He does
not fit.
No, I mean he can't pass, and it's problematic.
He can't pass.
Yeah, he's
the worst passer on the pitch.
And he was trying to do kind of almost like, I mean, Skip was worse. I mean, he wasn't even playing.
Skip
I don't know what the fuck he was doing.
Overall useless. He doesn't contribute anything. Whereas at least Basuma wins the ball. And he wins it a lot. He's really good at that. But he just can't pass.
I just wonder, because I was trying to cast my mind's eye back to when people were like, oh, Biss is a, 80 million pound player, when he had the 1 or 2 seasons or 1.5 seasons with Brighton where he was really good. And I mean, he's not strictly a destroyer, but he was fucking up so much shit, and it was crazy. The amount of shit that players were fucking up on this team in this game was unbelievable to me, and they were absolutely ass fucking Brenham the whole game. It was not even a competition. It was just like, how many times is Brenham going to hit one over the top, Rico Henry outball, cross? Like, they had 4 or 5 of those.
But that's why I was going to disagree with you, because Brenham basically were just like, sure, we'll sit. We have 3 center backs on Rich. He's not getting the ball. They shouldn't have gotten
anything out of the game.
Why? They created great chances.
They created one chance that Bumo fucked up, and it was that was the other thing I kept saying on Discord that I was like blowing. It was like they had numbers back every time on the counters, and they just were defending so badly. Like the individual player, they were never like odd man rush. It was always like they had 4 back and there were 2 countering, and they would just like lose them in fucking movement or something like ridiculous. And I kept watching. I was like, yes, Henry the outball, no, that's a problem. Catching up to him, that was an issue.
Outball, I thought was incredible on the right.
Yeah, they had that at times, but ultimately though,
like Flecken was basically just pinging to whoever was open, left or right, and like they got into the third whenever they wanted.
Yeah, but I mean, ultimately they were still crosses to a marked player every time, and it was like coming the cuts in front, cuts behind. I wasn't watching. I'm like, oh my God, like Brenthammer just getting wide open chances all the time. Like they were still defended crosses in transition, not sort of like things we saw in the Everton Fulham game where it's like a 3-on-0 and then Everton don't score. Right. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It wasn't like that, but I thought that they got enough good chances that I was like, yeah, 2-2 is fair. I think a draw's fair. I think
draw's fair.
It's like Spurs were so aesthetically pleasing that like I think we as just fans of the game like want that team to deserve to win, right? Like to just be like, yeah, but they like fucking played and the other team didn't play, they just countered. But like in the end, all of that possession just like didn't really lead to that many shots or that many good chances. And like very few, right?
But that's the thing that I think about this and like project it forward is like, how can they be worse than that, Spurs? Like they were fucking amazing and insanely bad all at the same time within the same minute of the game.
Their only actual chance that was above like a 0.1 XG chance was the Romero header.
Yeah, which was a set piece, which is a joke.
Which is a set piece, right? Yeah. And then no other real chances because I think basically Brentford played a perfect game and that's why he played 3 center backs. He was just like, you can have the ball almost like a fucking force field around the net. Like you can have the ball just outside of here as much as you want. Son can have it in fuckland. Kulu can have it in fuckland. Matto can have it. We're gonna have 2 center mids on him at all times. You can try and pass to Rich. We have 3 center backs on him at all times, and you're gonna get no real chances.
But I don't think there are very many teams that can park a bus like that and do it that capably. So that's where I'm looking at it as how Spurs are gonna get better.
Are you for the Man United game? Spurs Man United. I can't wait for that game. That's such a fascinating matchup of like.
No, it is. It is.
United trying to counter and Spurs trying to never give up the ball. And I think I favor United, but I could see that going any which way. The thing that's going to be interesting is like United are going to probably park similarly to Brentham and how they did, but they're not going to do it with 3 center backs, and they're going to do it with less, line movement, like less cohesion. They pack in a different way, which is stupid. They're just in a dumb way. And so I feel like that will create gaps and spaces. But I'm still concerned, though, just broadly about Spurs. Just, I think Skip should never start another game in the Premier League for the rest of the season, period. Basuma, I agree with you that the system is not suited to him, but I think he also can improve. Like I feel like there is something about him where maybe he can figure out ways to put him in positions to make the easy pass, so he's not giving the ball away. That I think
might happen.
Saying he's blanket really bad at passing is not actually correct, but we it's one of those things where we both know what we mean, but I think that like we're selling him short. He's really good at just short, easy completions. Like he never fucks those up. He has like insanely high completion rate. Like, he completed 103 passes. Obviously he's not bad at passing, but he can't pass the ball aggressively and he can't pass the ball creatively. And I feel like he kept winning the ball like in Brentford's half, and then he would like turn and try and find someone who's like, dude, what the fuck, right?
Yeah.
So if he just needs to be like, what they almost need to do is like split the center backs wide and have Basuma like almost that middle, what teams used to do, and have him like drop between the center backs. He needs to be like the deepest man.
Yeah.
And then he can just lay it off to Romero, lay it off to Van de Ven, lay it off to even Vicario, who can play a deeper pass.
They need him up to win the ball up high, though, because he's so good at doing that.
Yeah,
so, he needs to be able to win the ball back, make the simple pass, and recycle, like just get back and whatever.
Exactly.
But it was also just they were, a lot of the players were taking too many touches. They were not moving the ball fast enough.
That's Matto's bread and butter.
Yeah, well, with Matto, I think it was different because when he takes touches, they're meaningful. He draws players in. Like Kulusevski, Son, like it's just like they're taking touches for no reason. They're all out on the wing. They're not going to beat the guy. They're just
were
issues. Yeah,
they felt just like what are you doing?
Yeah, I think he should. I mean, if I'm him, I would actually switch them and see what happens. I would switch their sides.
So they're crossing on their strong foot?
Yeah. Switch their sides, put Sarr in, get Skip to fucking planet Mars and play Lo Celso, also. I want to see what that looks like. I think that could work.
Yeah, I want to see Basuma behind Matto and Lo Celso.
Yeah.
Honestly, Perisic might be their best winger. Like, I don't think that's out of the question.
I don't think he can do it. I think he's too slow.
Maybe.
I mean, he was trying to beat his man when he subbed on the 80th minute. He could not.
Yeah.
So he has fresh legs against someone who's fucking ass fuck tired on 80 minute, and he was just like getting the ball taken off him. He was so bad when he came on.
They have all this Kane money, right? Burning a hole. Maybe he'll find a winger.
I mean, at the same time, I don't think that's where they can afford to invest. I think they still need to look at the spine. They need to look at the center backs. I mean, I think
But they just bought Van de Ven. They believe in Romero. I don't know.
I think that's incorrect. I just... I mean, they have... Yeah, I don't know. It's we'll see where they go with the money, but I don't know. That's line, a lot of Spurs.
Yeah, FPL-wise, good picks. Feel extremely confident holding Rich. Matto's a fantastic pick. That's all you need to know, really.
I mean, the essential thing with this to me is that they had and will have so much sustained pressure that the amount of teams in the league that are have had this cohesive unit like Brenham have had for the last 4 years in place to kind of look at this and be like, oh, we can do this. There are not a lot of teams that can do that.
No.
That's where
I say it every week, and it's part of why I often am betting on Brentford. I'm also often having their players, yada yada yada. It's like they're just so well coached. Mm-hmm. Like, no matter what you think of their players, and you don't like them, whatever. Like, Frank is just phenomenal and gets this fucking championship wage squad to play, up to mid-table Premier League, and he figured out what Spurs are going to do and the best way to stop it and the best way to get their attacks to be meaningful on the counter, and he did it, and they executed, and it was just phenomenal.
And they won, and all this said, that's again, we keep talking about this game like Spurs lost. It was no point. It was a draw. Yeah, so it's like this is a really bad version and display and performance from Spurs, and they still got a draw at Brentford, which is to me I'm looking for. I'm like, this is there's a lot here. I'm
after home United, they're at Bournemouth, at Burnley, home Sheffield. Yeah, it's going to be really hard to not go into those with Matto and Rich, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so happy I have both of them, and I'm just
that just seems fantastic. Yeah. I'll need to analyze that when the time comes. Yeah. Dude, we're already an hour in. We have 1,000 more games to talk about, and many questions.
Let's do another hour. I mean, this is party hour. This is the best week of the year. It's the first week.
It's the best week of the year.
Before we also didn't talk about, we both have Rico Henry. Unbelievable player.
My man of the match. And I'm not fucking trolling. He was unreal.
Every single ball he played in was like Kev. And I remember I said in Discord, we've been watching this player for thousands of minutes, and he's been terrible. It's like he puts his head down and he just
such
goes
a bad
somewhere.
Attacker, just fast.
He was insanely good.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
He put in 4 crosses, and I swear to God, all of them were
each one of them was
world class.
Assist potential on each one.
Yeah, and he did get 1 assist too. Mm-hmm. Boomer missed a fucking sitter. I don't know.
Yeah.
Should we talk about Newcastle Villa at all?
Yeah,
I mean,
let's do it. Well, it's hard to talk about that one because Newcastle have Liverpool City coming up. So how much investment is there going to really be in there?
Yeah.
In their team.
And broadly speaking, I think if anyone who has Villa players should probably just hold their home Everton and obviously not if you have Mings, but that's a different situation. But yeah, I mean, you hold Ollie, you hold Diaby, you hold Pau, you hold fucking, I don't know who else is owned on that team.
Cash, I guess.
Cash, yeah, you hold Cash for sure. I don't know. It was just, maybe there is nothing to talk about. I just think Emery just did a really bad job, and they let Newcastle do exactly what they want to do, and the only thing they really can do the entire game.
Yeah.
And just got fucking punished.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the thing about this was the anti-Poch, where Poch was hey, we've been doing this all preseason. Watch this. This is brand new. Same thing. Emery's like, hey, we've been doing this all preseason. Watch this. We're playing a back four, and they just got fucking destroyed.
He's like, watch our center back stand on the halfway line. And Newcastle's like, sure.
Yeah, we'll do. We're happy to see that.
He's like, if anything, we have fucking pace on the pitch.
Yeah.
Like our wingers can run, our striker can run. You're fucked.
I
maybe
this
nothing
is
to talk about there.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's similar to. I just want to throw it out.
Yeah. What about
Crazy
Brighton
game.
though? That's a big one.
4-1
Brighton. Annihilation. And Chester said, "How good are Brighton? How afraid should I be of owning zero of their assets?" Ceci said, "What's your take on Perv given his ridiculous on the field upside and the drop in fixtures after game week 3? Yada yada yada."
Perv, look, he was worth the return he got in FPL. So close to that one point.
I know. So close. Dying for that one point.
It's fucking 3-1. Like, can't you just fucking chill on the ball? Just pass the center back. Just fucking chill, dog.
Yeah, and Luton just gave up at that point.
I know.
They weren't even running. Yeah, they were sprinting harder than he's ever sprinted to get that goal.
Oh my God, it was so tilting.
But yeah, he was creating chances all day. He was great.
Yeah, left
usual.
and right. Yeah.
And Luton were terrible.
Yeah, Luton they're going to struggle. I mean, they looked like they were trying to play a nice brand of football to a degree. They just have really bad players.
Attack wasn't actually that bad. I mean, Kaylee had their XG, not including the pen, at 1.1. And so they were worth a goal, not even including the pen, which, by the way, I hate that pen is called. But whatever. I mean, I hate half the pens that were called, and I hate the half the pens that weren't called.
I don't know. I mean, that slide from Dunk, like, why are you doing that? That's the thing. It's when you like, do you do this? Like, you don't do that.
I think when you slide, you do kind of use your arms to like balance, but I just don't know what the thinking is. It's like, are they thinking that he's making himself bigger and block the cross? I guess so, but like,
it's been called before, and you have to knock that out of your game.
Yes,
like, you have to know better.
Called before.
You just have to know better as a defender that, okay, when crosses come in, I do this baseball slide, where my hands are lower, and I don't do this other one where my entire arm is parallel to the ground.
Yeah,
outstretched.
Yeah. I mean, it's fair. It's just I just don't like it because there's no consistency, right? I mean, I mentioned, and we haven't even touched on the Onana pen, which is the most nailed on blatant pen I've ever seen in my life, and it's not given.
Yeah,
I mean, let alone Nico Jackson just handles the ball.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, I don't know about the Nico one, but the protection.
But I feel like if you're calling the Dunk one, you have to call the Nico one.
Well, I don't agree at all, because I think his arm was completely inside his body, so his literal body was 0% bigger. So just like he was like,
he still blocks a shot on target with his hand.
But if it wasn't his hand, it would have just hit his chest. Like, it was in his. It was just inside his body.
It only hit his hand. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't see the same. I didn't see it the same way on that one. But with the Dunk one, I think it's just one of those where it's. I feel like it's almost on the coaching staff of being like, you cannot do this. Let's practice. Like, this is how you slide to block crosses as a center back. It's this way and not that way. So it's just disappointing, obviously.
But I don't like them for cleans. I mean, I didn't like them a week ago for cleans. I still don't like them now for cleans. That was Luton at home, best fixture in the league, and they created chances.
Yeah, and they didn't keep it clean. And I mean, at Wolves, Molineux, it's going to be so hard for Wolves. I mean, it does. Look at today, right? I mean, how many fucking opportunities did they need?
How many chances did they have today and not score? Yeah,
so I feel like for them, it's like maybe it's every 14 chances, so they'll probably score like every second or third game. They just carry over.
That's fair.
They had about 8 today. Maybe they'll get 7, and the next time they'll do 1. They'll
Unbelievable.
get 6 in the next one. They won't do it. They'll get 9 the next one. They'll do 1. It's unbelievable. This fucking Wolves team is unbelievable. But I mean, Wolves and then West Ham. Yeah, I mean, I literally don't think that Brighton will keep a clean sheet in any game other than promoted sides or like Fulham or something.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like it would have to be like sort of lucky. I don't mean that they're not going to like outplay all these teams. They absolutely will. Yeah, but
they'll be the better
all
team
of
in
these
most of the
teams
games.
will have legit chances to score. There's going to be a lot of posts. There's going to be a lot of steal one-on-ones. There's going to be pen shouts because that's how they play.
That said, Purvis.
Sort
of out of position.
Yeah, we knew this,
playing,
right? We knew this.
Yeah,
Absolutely knew this.
Yeah.
The thing with Purvis, it's tilting that he got the 7-pointer because it happened in the 96th minute. But when I look at it from like our team perspective, I'm like, yeah, but Gahey matched him.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it doesn't matter. If he's not keeping cleans, then it doesn't really matter what he does attacking because you can get a 4 or 5 who does keep cleans and matches him. I don't know. I wasn't that down about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's, for us that we don't have Purvis, we're obviously committed to that, and we believe in that. Where we make up ground is that the Purvis owners are just held hostage to the allure of the attacking output. Yes. And he continues to not keep cleans in the easy fixtures, and we know they won't keep cleans in the hard fixtures. Newcastle, exactly. Man United, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you look back and you're like, oh shit, he just wrapped off like a Rito Bape esque, 1 1 1 2 0 5.
A what?
1 Ricardo Pereira. Where he has that in it. He'll do 1 1 1 0 5 16. 2 6 1 0. You sell him 20
12 10 20. Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting, I think, like microscopic lens to be like, okay, Purvis, Chilwell, 2 most attacking fullbacks in the game, both incredible picks, but they are not the same. They are not the same.
Not even close.
Chilwell's
just not even close.
Even further forward, even I think better on the ball, like a better striker of the ball. But that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that Chelsea just got their star DM, and Brighton's not buying one. And Chelsea also just bought this other kid DM who's decent. It's 19-year-old, right? So their chances of cleans and their center backs are way better. Way better.
Wait, what are you fucking kidding
me?
Their fourth center back is better than their fourth center back is better than
their injured center backs are better. They have fucking Fofana and Badiashile injured. They're better than everyone.
Yeah.
So it's
I mean, they have a lot of players.
They actually have upside of cleans and attacking returns where I look at a Subignon, I'm like, they're probably going to sign some kid from fucking Belize or something, and maybe he's a really good DM, but like, don't know.
3 years.
We'll see. And like Dahoud plays 3 games a season, so I don't know about that. And it's like, so Milner. That's the difference between the two. Yeah.
No, I'm with you. On that.
But what about their attack? I mean, we mentioned Pedro. We kind of mentioned Matoma. Dude, I just wish there was a world where Ferguson was nailed. He's so fucking good.
Yeah.
He's so also good.
Like 10 years old.
He's the next £100 million guy that they're going to sell. Like, I totally feel that way.
I agree. They're just the thing with them is like, they're just in no rush. I mean, he has such a huge luxury to just not stress him out because they have all these other options. I mean, they're all good. I mean, March is good. Matoma's good. Pedro's good. You just get them and you just chill. I mean, who's not good? Gross, not good. Actually,
Gross had a great game statistically, fine, but like he could play right back in any of these games.
Yeah, not on pens, not a pick.
Yeah, not on pens.
Yeah, you just, if you have them, great. I still just look at them as like an awkward one because I think it's just like a don't buy, don't sell because, they have some tough fixtures coming up. And I am really, really terrified of what's going to happen when Europe happens with them because, I don't think he's going to just play some B team where it's like, random fucks like off the bench and these children. I think he's going to be doing like a lot of mix and matching where he's making like 4 changes and 3 changes and 7 changes. And this is the away leg, so I'm going to make, no changes and play the first team. It's like, what's going to happen there? It's.
The thing with them also is that like in the end, their numbers were fucking absurd. I mean, they put up 4 non-penalty XG. Absolutely insane.
They played Luton.
But that wasn't really happening until like the 70th minute. Until
when the game was gone. Until the game was gone. Game was gone.
Yeah, the game was actually in the balance. Like, obviously, Brighton were controlling the ball, but like Luton were getting half chances on the counter. Brighton weren't creating anything good. then, Matoma worldie cross, March, amazing header, goal. Still kind of flat, though, from Brighton after that for a while. But once the pen happened, they went from fucking like roughly 1.5 XG to 4 in those last, 20 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, it was like a machine gun. The last 15
it was just
minutes.
Luton are fucking done and Brighton are rock hard and they're just going for it right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like their overall performance, I think, distorts the fact that like actually they weren't like getting through that often, creating that much in the game, in the best fixture in the league until the end. Yeah. Maybe I still don't know if this is actually the top 4 attack that we saw last year, or maybe they're just not quite as good, which is like more likely probably,
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see the Wolves game because I mean, let's pivot there, right? I mean, Wolves, look, the Gaza is in, ex-Bournemouth, ex-Cherry, picking up, Lopetegui's, briefcase to figure out, what has he been doing with these guys here?
Been there like a week.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's fucking like under a week. I think it was Tuesday. I think it was like 5 days, right?
Jesus Christ.
All that said, what are Wolves? They're a compact defensive unit with good players in all of those positions. Forget about they can't trouble your goal, but they have good players who know how to make tackles and defend, and they know how to deal with spacing and movement. And we'll see what they do. I mean, this is like a movable object versus an unstoppable force or whatever that expression is to me. Because if Wolves really do foil them, then I think that you're going to learn a lot about Brighton. They're kind of maybe a wolf in sheep's clothes a little bit. Where, okay, that means when they go to Brenham, that's not a good fixture. Bench them. Just bench them.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that they go to Bournemouth and it's a bad fixture, but if they're going to a good defense, and they can't do the things, then they're okay. They're a good system on top, front foot, but they have a lot of bad players in the team still, Brighton, like we talked about.
Yeah, I mean, Man United created one good chance, and it was a Varane header in the 75th minute or something, and that's it.
Yeah,
and they just didn't have another good chance. They had a couple half chances. They had chances that were easily blocked because the Wolves defender was perfectly positioned, but that's it.
Yeah. So that'll be another really interesting game to watch, I think.
Yeah.
And Molineux will be rocking. Yeah, this is, I mean, for us and for me, I'm just hoping that, Wolves show up and this isn't the banker that everyone thought it was.
Well, and the thing that I think foiled part of the enjoyment of that match, I think, and what foiled Man United was just Wolves were so good at dribbling the ball out of pressure. Yeah. I mean, how many times was just Lamina, Nunez, Cunha, etc., just like turning, beating a man, going, and then it was like, oh my god, 3v2 counter, and then obviously they fuck it because they're Wolves. But I think that like Brighton love to counter press and high press. Like I could see that happening all over again, right? It's like Dahoud, Gross, Milner pressuring these guys. It's like, I'm just going to dribble circles
we'll
around
go
you.
around them.
Yeah. So that I mean, every game is so interesting this part of the season. I really can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I'm watching the game today. I was like, where is Casemiro? Like, where's his? Like, he didn't even get a card. Like, how does he not get a card in this game?
How does he not get a card?
Where
it's a
was
really good question.
He didn't even make a tackle. Like, he didn't. It's not like he was. Where the fuck was he?
He was bad.
Where the fuck was he? It was crazy. Yeah.
Should we rattle off some questions maybe and then wrap it up? Well,
that sounds
for
good.
those who don't know, we go into further detail on like our teams and questions on the Thursday pod, so we'll do that,
except for the beginning of this pod where I was fucking crying.
Josh Ferguning, Sideways Bean, all asking about Matt Turner versus their keepers. Turner versus Ederson, Pickford, Fleck, Johnstone, Onana this week. I mean, we're both on Johnstone. Turner's my keeper this week, no question.
This is the easiest decision you should ever make in your entire life.
Would you do that with all of the other keepers too? Like Ederson home Newcastle, Pickford at Villa, Fleck at Fulham.
It's not even remotely
close. United at Spurs. Yeah,
like this Sheffield United team is horrendous.
Yeah,
and I don't give a
Turner's
fuck.
Decent.
Yeah, Turner. No, he's good. Turner's good.
Whoa,
Sheffield
whoa,
United's decent. I mean, NFO is decent, but the Sheffield United, they have no goals in the team. I don't know how they're going to score 15 goals this season as a team as currently constructed. It's
they're
insane.
in trouble.
They're in trouble. So I mean, as long as they don't let something up in a set piece, it's just so hard to imagine how a Sheffield United goal is created. I can't in my head imagine.
I mean, Forrest
what
can
that
create
looks like.
goals for the opponent, but I hear you. It's an easy start. Easy start.
I mean, Sheffield United, I think, is the best clean sheet fixture in the league right now.
Yeah, they don't have a Carlton Morris, and I don't mean that like sarcastically at all. I mean, Morris was lively, got chances, got shots, caused chaos.
I mean, or even someone like Kabore who can beat you and get out of the wing and put a cross. I mean, dude, this Sheffield United team is like the same rejects as when they were up 3 years ago.
It's actually incredible how they managed to come up with a worse team than they did when they were unanimous worst team in the league. And then obviously that didn't happen. They had a great season. They stayed up, and then they were the worst team in the league the following season. So I don't know.
I mean, they lost a lot of the guys that helped them get there. Yeah, their best players, loan or signing otherwise. But I mean, Egan, Basham, Lowe. I'm like, how are they still here? They're still there. They're terrible, dude. Sheffield United are terrible.
4-5 forward.
Doesn't matter. Terrible. They're terrible.
Bear said, "Who impressed you the most? Who flopped the hardest?"
That's a big one. Do you have anything?
I think flop the hardest for me is Villa. I just thought it was completely pathetic.
Because we thought that would be a game.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this should be interesting. And it was just a complete joke. He's never seen Newcastle under Eddie Howe and doesn't know how they play or what they do. It was just completely bad. Who impressed me the most?
I'll just go out there on one here. Everton. I mean, I know they lost. I'm not
fucking dominated. What was that?
It's
what actually was that?
When you play Neil as striker, this happens. But I mean, they did what they should have and needed to do to win the game, and they got fucked because they're Everton, and that's just a joke. They're a joke club. But
I mean, my other shout was also a team who lost, which was aforementioned Wolves.
Wolves, yeah.
I mean, a week ago, I'm like, they might be the worst team in the league, or at least bottom three, and they were just straight up better than Manchester United for the entire match.
The entire game. Yeah.
The entire game. They were just the better team.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Wolfgang, are there players that stood out that you hadn't considered in preseason? That's interesting.
Let's see.
Not really.
Fucking Bournemouth kid was good. Brooks was good today.
Brooks was good.
He looked like.
I mean honestly, Isak.
Yeah, that's a good show.
I mean, I still am not really considering him because I'm like, Callum could just start the next game, and he did Callum stuff, but he was great, and he's always great.
Yeah, Isak is so difficult, I think, for FPL because you want him when he's playing striker.
I want him so badly,
which is when they have bad fixtures.
Yeah,
and he plays on the wing when Callum strike. So.
And when he's wing,
kind
he's
of in a mess. He sucks.
Nightmare of a pick.
Yeah, he's reverse out of position, barely getting
Doesn't
shots.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tough one there.
Hardly boys. I'm a Gabriel and Stones owner. Immediate transfers out or hits warranted? That's rough.
What do you think about Gabriel? I mean, because is Tomiyasu going to play or is Gabriel going to come in?
We didn't really talk about this. Timber's hurt.
Timber's done for the season.
Yeah, it seems like that. So, I mean, I expect Gab to just come in. But I'm curious what Nate would say or Arsenal supporters would say. I mean, I was stunned that Gabriel wasn't in the lineup to begin with. I mean, Partey right back, Timber left back. Everything was just whoa, okay, yeah, weird. White plays center back. I was just
I like the disrespect, but
it was still shocking.
I just feel like if Tomiyasu's kind of, he was the first, he subbed on, not Gabriel. Maybe there was something to that, little rumored knock or whatever with Gabriel. Right. But I mean, when Zinchenko comes back, I mean, I've how many years have we been on doing this pod that I've been saying that Gabriel is a fucking diabolical player?
For you,
I think he's terrible.
It's been forever, yeah.
Since I've started watching him, I think he's terrible. So, I mean, to me, it makes sense that he's dropped. It makes sense that, Arteta's ruthless and he plays the best players. But, at current offering, without Zinchenko, it's hard to imagine that they're playing Saliba and Tomiyasu center backs, right, in a back four. And, who's playing fullback? He's playing fucking Tierney. Tierney sucks. Yeah. He's worse than Gabriel.
Is Tierney even there anymore?
Yeah, I think so, isn't he?
Oh, okay.
Isn't he on the bench?
Yeah, I thought he was supposed to go or something. I don't know. I can't keep track. But, yeah, I think Gab should probably start.
Well, to me, the best back four would be...
Chilwell. Should have happened yesterday.
Oh, yeah, that's all. Well, what do you think about back over to the City, though? I mean, we've already all, coming off the bench. Are you ready to go there? Because we were both really into that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Just do it, and he's going to start a bunch of games kind of thing?
Maybe I should be thinking about a Gaming 3 wildcard. Not because my team's fucked up, but just because, I want Gvardiol, I want Chilwell, maybe and Reese, I want Rich and Matto. There's a bunch of guys I want, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Gvardiol, obviously is ready to start. I mean, he came in and looked good for 10 minutes, whatever.
Yeah.
He's fit. He's their best defender. Diaz hurt. Stone's hurt. I mean, I expect him in. I expect him in.
Yeah. Yeah, you could dead end into that.
It's worth considering.
I think the bigger question for you on that would be, the longevity of Wissa. How big of an issue is Jota long term? And is Bruno just you don't want Bruno?
Right. There's a chance I don't want Bruno. I think Jota... Well, Jota's just such a headache, right? Because it's you kind of have to keep him long term if you're going to get points out of him because you don't know when he's going to start. Any game he starts, he could get a brace, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But I think... What do you think about Wissa? I thought he was great, and I think that as long as they don't buy a striker, I feel very comfy with him.
I don't know. I think it was a really difficult game to analyze for me with Wissa.
Just countering.
Yeah, there were some counters where he was lively, but I mean, it was really the first 15 minutes or whatever, and then he just he disappeared. He just completely disappeared. And I hate the player that, you hit 60 and you're he's going to be subbed immediately.
I know.
Every time
that's the game. Because I thought, I don't agree with you. I thought he was just really good, the whole first half. And then
maybe that's the case, and I'm misremembering the timing.
Yeah, and then by 65, it was just Jesus, he isn't running
Can't
anymore,
run.
and isn't involved at all. And part of it is his fault too. I don't even think he's one of those players that's just he just can't get fit for 90. It's he's tracking back to the defensive third, winning the ball, passing it back to Fleck, sprinting to be number 9, and then when Henry gets the ball, he's in the box. It's just dude, calm down almost, he needs the Emery talk to just be can you just hang in the box more and just get more shots and stop doing everything?
Yeah. I mean, and that's an issue to me, right? I mean, you're getting a player who, he has an hour to do the things when there are so many good picks in the game.
But it's also why he got Max Bonds.
Yeah, he doesn't do anything else.
That's why he gets
off.
He wins the ball. He completes all his passes. He gets tackles and random shit like that, and then he gets shots.
Yeah. I mean, that said, right, you're still looking at him not as a 30 game week player, but they have Fulham, Palace at home, Bournemouth. Reassess, right? I mean, you can reassess just at that point after the Bournemouth game. I mean, home Everton game week 6 is good, but at Newcastle's bad. At NFO's not the best. At United's bad. It gets worse then, but I still look at him though, and look at João Pedro. It's that's a tough one where it's it's still it's
Pedro's so much more attacking.
Yeah, I mean, the team's better. They attack more. He's better than Wissa. Obviously, not close. It's tough. There are a lot of tough calls there, and
overall, I mean, we're talking about 70 minutes in a game where they could not get the ball, didn't even want the ball.
9 points.
He still gets 6 pen touches, 3 shots in the box. Goal.
Yeah.
Max points. I mean, that's exactly what I want.
That's
right?
what you expected, and
that's a 6-0 forward on a mid-table team, just returning. Yeah.
I mean, he's just not an issue at all until something changes.
Yeah,
because,
exactly.
They have a different plan for every team, different game, whatever. at Fulham, Palace, Bournemouth, I think you just hold. You're just happy to hold.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sides asking, can you remind me again why Joachim Anderson's a bad pick? Palace defense is good. He gets max bones.
Yeah, red card shout.
Yeah, he's a foul and card machine. But yeah, it is annoying. We both have Gahey and Anderson gets max bones.
It's also interesting because I remember looking at this, and last season, guess how many bonus points he got last season? Whole season.
Don't know.
1.
7. Wow, 1?
1 all year.
What?
Yeah. 1.
So I wonder, why was it really close? Was it one of those games where it was really, really low BPS? Got it.
Well, I think he had the chance he put on target, so that's not negative.
Right.
I think he created a chance or two on one of his long pings where it was just just sent the ball, the guy dribbled and shot, and it was an on-target shot instead of something like that. And I guess his pass completion wasn't terrible, but I mean the fact that the player got 1 bonus point all last year and then he jumped up, because that's part of why I like Gahey Gahey got 2 bonus points last year, but he
double.
That's double. That's why I got him. Mitchell got bonus points. He didn't even fucking do anything. Literally didn't do anything. I don't know why. I don't know how he got bonus points. I don't know
what's happening. Yeah.
Gahey was making fouls and shit. That's kind of the more of the issue is Gahey's the one that has to clean up the mess that Anderson does.
Yeah.
So he had a few fouls, so his bonus points went down. But I think in a different game where he didn't, make a few fouls instead of winning the ball cleanly, that Gahey might have, pipped him. But yeah, Anderson, Gahey, they're all good picks because, we have a good spine and we're a good defense. But, it's still just back to the rotating thing where you want to, rotate them in the good fixtures,
Yep.
Yeah.
Puff at Jack, he said, very broad question, but how do we find the balance between jumping on early picks that seem standout or remaining patient for the data? We have to massively increase every game week in the early parts of the season. So we get this every year. I don't know if there's an actual answer, but I think it's pretty obvious by how we're talking that we consider Chilwell not someone to wait on, right? Circumstances have drastically changed from what we knew pre-game week 1. And with what we know now, he's vital best defender in the game right now. So I think that's an example of when it's no, I don't need to wait. I don't need more information. I want to go right now. But I don't know if there's anyone else in the game right now that's like that. I honestly don't.
Again, I think it's Matto. I still think that.
Yeah, it's probably Matto.
Yeah.
Probably Pedro. But even those guys, I'm I could wait. Not a nightmare, right?
Yeah. These are still lower-ish owned players who aren't going to score 17-point hat trick next week.
And they don't have a run like Chelsea's, right? Yeah. They don't have game week 2 through game week fucking 7 or 8, whatever it is for Chelsea, where I'm just he's starting every game, nailed, best player of my team kind of guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Why don't we try and wrap it up here from...
Yeah, I think that's pretty decent. Okay. One other thing, we got some questions, and we'll like I said, we'll do our teams more on Thursday, but preliminary cap. So I'm obviously on Mo. Dano and Joe said, is Mo the obvious cap for those who haven't? Yes,
obviously.
And then Jeff said, if you had to pick a Liverpool cap not named Mo, who would it be? And then I'm wondering who you're on. Are you on?
I'm on Ollie. Yeah, I'm on Ollie.
Yeah. So it's a not cap Holland week for Team FMLFPL.
Yeah, that's for sure. I have my vice on him, but I think it's just Newcastle are good enough that it's not, and I don't think, City I just don't think that's an auto for me. I think that's the biggest thing also, going back to last year, what we talked about is, we put a lot of points back into the field by thinking it's auto Holland when, when we look back at the fixtures and how the games played out, that just wasn't the case. And, when they're playing these top 6 teams, home or away, they're typically cagey, and they're not attacking a lot, and the other team doesn't just bend over and stop playing.
Yeah.
Newcastle, they're going to come in with their tails up, and they're going to be pragmatic, and they're going to be compact and they're going to try and hit on the counter, and they're not. I don't think they're going to get drawn out and just let up all these big chances. So
I agree.
They're playing on Wednesday. They're going to be on short rest, short prep. So yeah, it just doesn't look like a goer for me for Haaland. So
I'm with you.
I'm still really nervous about Ollie though, because
me too. Yeah, I mean, I would be too. Like that.
Yeah.
It's not like he is that kind of guy who's like,
yeah.
home Everton. He's gonna get 4 shots. He's gonna rack up. Actually, like he could fucking be quiet, and Villa could play badly.
Nothing. Yeah,
yeah. Like Villa could play badly, and
I mean whatever. Everton. It's difficult because I was trying to imagine with Everton too. Is like we knew the Dyche, post, the away stats from him.
Yeah.
Where they were, the worst team in the league, whatever.
Yeah, they were horrible. Yeah.
They, with Garner in, with Gay, I mean, they're playing fucking 3 DMs,
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And, is that high line going to is he going to keep doing the thing away and try, he does this fucking stupid ass shit away and they get destroyed usually. I'm just hoping that like Tarko and fucking Michael Keane getting turned is just going to get destroyed.
Ashley
and he's not going to
Young.
and that he's not going to actually drop in deep where the only threat that Villa have with their pace is going to be neutralized because they're dropping in deep. And, typically away, I'm just hoping that they don't do that. Honestly, that's all I can really hope for.
I like it for you though. I really do. I mean, I think that even the Fulham game where Everton couldn't have dominated more for the first 75 minutes of the game or whatever. Fulham still get chances, right? And Fulham suck. We know they suck. They started with fucking Raul Jimenez who hit the post. And it's like Bobby D. Cordova-Reed scores a tap in. Like they're so bad and they're still getting chances. And I look at Villa who's just better at every single position on the pitch than Fulham. And I'm like, they will find chances. Even if it's just Dean and Cash crossing over and over again, they'll get chances out of that, right? It's set pieces, they'll get chances out of that. Transition, they'll definitely get chances out of that. I like it for you. I think it's worth the risk. I think it's worth the risk.
Yeah,
what about Jeff's question? If you had to pick a Liverpool captain not named Mo, who would it be? What the hell is that? Like... I don't think I would captain any of them. Right?
Yeah, I don't think I would. But maybe
unless
Trent.
there's a leak, I guess.
Maybe Trent. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just hope for it. I don't know.
Yeah. Trent. I mean, Diaz probably the safest at this point. After how he played and he got the goal, and I kind of thought he was first choice anyway. So
left wing, yeah.
I mean, you're just
Diaz is,
you're just praying for the start, and you're praying that Liverpool score 5 and they're a part of it, right? It's like,
was Diaz good in the game?
I thought he was really good in that first half. Basically, I felt like Disasi and Reece just could not deal with him at all, and he was creating havoc, and obviously that goal was great. But yeah, I mean, Liverpool just fell off a cliff second half. So kind of hard to say like anyone was that good.
Yeah. I guess the other thing, I mean, you watched the Bournemouth game. Do you think that they can get completely obliterated? Like, do they have like 4s and 5s against in them?
Yeah, I think they do.
They do.
I mean, West Ham are bad. And
they're bad.
They're very passive too. And at least in that first half, Bournemouth cleaned it up a little bit, but that first half was all West Ham. All West Ham. And they were just getting chances, even though they're half chances. They're getting some real chances too. Set piece chances, like give it to Bowen, let him cook chances. Like I think they're good and they'll get better over time. But yeah, they definitely have like a concede 2-3 in them for sure, I think, at this point. I mean, their defenders are still their defenders.
Yeah.
They're
okay.
That's how I feel. But yeah, that's where I'll be.
Okay.
I have a lot of asses to slap. Thank you for signing up, you Patreon subscribers, getting the Discord, yada yada. Raul, Kartik, Shurstava, Corbin, Conover, Kevin O, Kurt Brown, Zach Lewis, Rose Gold, Ben Roche, Nick Honkala, Cesar Rodarte, Tim Mueller, Adam Van Alabon, Matthew Furlong, Andreas Martinson, Bill Klunder, Nathaniel, Raffles, Sam Brown, James and Twistle. Baby, get in there. Get the fuck in there, dude. Get in there, dude. Walshy, any last words? Hope to see you tomorrow.
Is that vest?
Not detonated. Let's go.
It's in the closet.
Us. At FMLFPL.com. Follow us on Twitter and FMLFPL Sports Media.com/FMLFPL. Shot, rate, reviews.